Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we're going to be looking at the LONATHARIL Fusion Guide and seeing if it's worth it. We know this champion is not the best, but is the fusion actually quite easy to achieve? We will take a look. Before we get into that, I've just got to call out two things. Earlier this year, I was fortunate enough to be able to sponsor Lady H's netball team, the Hot Shots. And as of today, I've now sponsored the Ashford Spartans, which is the football team that I've been playing for the last 10 years. It's actually really awesome to be able to give back to local teams, local kind of community stuff. And if you want to kind of keep track of how the Ashford Spartans do, I'll link their Facebook page down below. You can see whether I get any man of the matches through the season, whether we actually win any football games, and yeah, just kind of stay involved. But up the Ashford Spartans, let's get into the video. I really wanted to wear this kit for the whole video, but green screen life doesn't really help me. Quick change. Right then, quick shout out for this referral champion. For those that have just got the referral pop, just remember, when you collect a referral champion fragments, they're going to go into your fragment pool. You don't have to collect that epic champion straight away. Don't do it. Don't do it straight away. Save the epic champion for when there is a champion chase tournament and earn yourself some points. You don't even, if you're not going to go for LONATHARIL, then just save it for a future event. Okay, so Raid have dropped us their beautiful graphic. I actually really like the way they do this. It makes it very clear and easy to see what's going on. On top of that, also at hellhades.com, we're going to be doing our usual featured guide. So every day, the fusion guide for LONATHARIL will be updated. This basically tells you what you should be doing today if you're pushing for this dude. You know, where you should be spending your resources, where you should be spending your energy, and the team HH Gaming will keep that up to date. So bookmark this. I'll pin it down below, and you can take a look. But yeah, let's have a look at this graphic then. So we knew it was going to be a fusion where you had 4 epics to collect, which then fuse into that legendary champion. Yeah, and we see it in game. I've got too many versions of Raid running. We see it in game here. Yeah, so they've got the 4 different epics all fuse into the one dude. You do have to take the epics up to level 50. You have to ascend them. Yeah, so you've actually got 3 spirit champions worth of pots and stuff that you've got to deal with along the way. Just bear that in mind. Otherwise, you know, you'll fall foul. And actually, you know, this spirit keep's not open all the time. You don't want to waste your gems trying to open it on a different day. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, 3 spirit epics and 1 force epic that then fuse into LONATHARIL. And you see you can kind of pick up fragments along the way for each of these different epics. Now, these are normally really challenging. And I did say in my video about LONATHARIL, he feels weak compared to most legendaries in the game. He definitely feels weak to me compared to recent fusions. But I will say that if you cannot beat up Spider, his shield will help you with Spider. If you cannot beat up Scarab Boss, he is decent for Scarab Boss, like very, very good to be fair. And if you cannot do much against Hydra, his shields and stuff will help you against Hydra. So he's not useless, but he's also not like a must-get, in my opinion. So let's have a look then. I would say out of the epics are actually pretty decent, and I will be dropping videos over the next couple of days on different epics. I can't get them all out today, so I've got a bunch of other things I've already got planned for today, but I think Carlenia seems strong and Anchorite seems strong. Yeah, so 2 seem strong. Fuji hits hard, but has got no health, so quite hard to keep alive, but if you can, actually not a bad champion. Yellow Gurna, I'm not overly impressed with personally. So 3 out of the 4 actually seem pretty good. And on the free-to-play, I will be trying to get the 2 Sacred Order ones, as long as it doesn't blow up too many of my resources. Right, so let's have a look at where they fall. Let's start with Carlenia. Dungeon Divers, Champion Chase, Champion Training, Fire Knight, Dungeon Divers Mark II, and Summon Rush. So basically what they're saying with Carlenia is, if you haven't got shards to summon, that's not going to be the epic for you. Yeah, and that's where you need to look at this. Like, this is tough. I mean, how many do we get here? I guess it tells us down here. Total of 130. But you've got 15 of those are based on you win in tournaments, which you can never factor that in. Okay, so we take those away straight away. You've got 115 fragments available, which means you can afford to miss 15. Now, the Summon Rush is 25. The Champion Chase is 20. So you have to get involved in both summon events to a high level to be able to get her. So already, she's pretty paywalled. If you don't want to burn loads of shards, she's not for you. Okay, that's where it's at. Already, she is looking pretty damn... she's looking a bit of a lost cause, honestly. Maybe if we just take a look at her kit just whilst we're doing this. So she's the one. HP burn A1. AoE decrease attack on her A2, which can't be resisted if there's burns out there. A mini strengthen on her A3. And a really good... And it cannot be stolen. This is actually a really good epic. Definitely for like a up-and-coming account that's struggling with stuff like Hydra. And then if there's a burn out there, every time an enemy under a burn gets a turn, decreases duration of random buffs on that enemy by 1. It's okay. This epic I think is decent. Yeah, especially if you compare her alongside a burner. If you picked up Walking Tomb Dreng, then all of a sudden she's going to come in pretty strong. She's not a game changer like crazy, but I do really like this A3. But yeah, as I say, she's a bit hidden behind shards. So for me, all of a sudden, I'm now thinking she's probably not for me because I'm not going to go for this fusion big time on the free to play. I'm not going to waste a load of shards. So she's kind of like now written off. So let's have a look then at Anchorite, the second one that I'm keen to get. We've got Spider Tournament, pretty easy. Champion Training, the second half of the Champion Training, which might be quite tough to get, but it's just energy and stuff, so you should be able to do it. Artifact, fine. Classic Arena, normally pretty easy. Another Champion Training, so 2 bursts of Champion Training. Dungeon Divers is normally okay, especially if it's the first half. Okay, so he feels like he's locked behind pretty achievable stuff. And again, there's 130 fragments. 15 of them, though, are tournament things. But feels like he should be just like a go get him whilst you're doing your normal stuff in the game. Yeah, so Anchorite, I would say, definitely worth putting some effort into try and get. Yeah, and Anchorite, let's just have a quick look at him as well. So he's also in that Sacred Order group. And he's the guy. He's got an AoE A1, which is always good. You can throw him in stun sets and stuff like that to proc stuns as well. But you get a heal on top of that. You've got removes a debuff from all allies and increases a buff on your team. This is a really rare skill to get. Yeah, there's a few epics with it. And generally they're used in kind of really cool clan boss teams where you're trying to extend your buffs. Or they can be used really well in Hydra teams. But this is a rare skill. And it's extremely rare to find them with other abilities that actually make some sense. There's only really Sandlash Survivor or Aniri Godseeker as epics. And then there's Hellborn Sprite as a rare who can do this skill and actually offer you something else. So this is pretty damn juicy, I'd say. Especially on a 3-turn. On a 3-turn cooldown, that's pretty damn good. It's got, what, 6? Only 7 books in total as well, which is really low. So I actually really like this Anchorite dude. And then his A3 fully heals somebody, then put buffs on your team, strong buffs. So yeah, this dude I think is decent. I'm going to get this guy definitely on the free to play. Okay, let's look at the next one in the mix then. So Woodgie, I've seen Nubkex do a cool video with Woodgie, albeit she's paired with like crazy champion or very good champions. Okay. So, Woodgie is a hard-hitting champion. I'll show you a kit in a minute. One wouldn't be a bad one to get, honestly. But, again, hidden behind the second half of Champion Chase, which means it's going to be pretty damn challenging to get. Where else is she in the mix here? Ice Golem, no worries. Champion Training right at the end, if this is kind of labelled out properly. Dungeon Divers again. Second half of Summon Rush. I mean, she's even... It feels like she's deeper behind shards even than Carlinia. So, yeah, that I would say you're probably only picking up Woodgie if you're actually going for this dude. And in that case, you're not getting Woodgie anyway. But again, let's take a look at a kit and kind of show you what I mean about her base HP. Actually, I don't think we see it as a level 50. She's got like 10k HP, which is the same level of HP as most common champions. Cool looking champ though. This is really where Nubkex was utilizing Woodgie really well. So you should go and check out that video anyway of her in Hydra. But she kicked out a ton of damage because of this skill here. So attacks an enemy, chance to place a weaken, will target all enemies when counter-attacking. But she's got a ability to throw up her own counter-attack. So this A3 combined with the A1 is actually pretty fierce. She does a lot of damage. He didn't even honestly build her that strong, and she kicked out Ruel level damage, and Ruel hits hard. Yeah, so this is an interesting kind of skill set. And her A2 here does have block buffs, which is pretty good for Hydra, albeit it's only got like a 75% chance to land, and it can weak hits. Like it's a little bit on the average side compared to a lot of champions doing block buffs. But yeah, she's definitely got something going on here. Perfect Veil stops her taking so much damage, which is good because she's so hard to build with high survivability because of her low HP. But yeah, she is an interesting champion, but she really needs to be paired with a whole load of protectors. And I'd say she's kind of Hydra specific. Yeah, I don't think outside of Hydra she's going to get a lot of playtime. But yeah, Woodgie, then the third one. But as I say, she's kind of paywalled behind shards. And if you're doing that many shards, you're probably going for this dude anyway, I would expect. And then the last one here then, Yellow Gurner. I mean, she is not behind any shard event, so it's kind of way easier to get her. Let's just have a quick look at her kit as well. We've got here an increased attack, self buff if she kills someone. AoE on the A2 with a decreased attack. It's not a bad A2, to be honest. 3-turn cooldown. And then a single target block buff, block active skills on the A3 with a chance to revive. This is probably the best part of her kit, honestly, that she can revive people when she kills someone. So for faction wars, that becomes really useful. So yeah, maybe actually I'm underselling the Orc here. She is going to be useful for people's faction wars. Outside of faction wars, I don't think she gets tons of playtime, but AoE decreased attack's a decent skill. Yeah, not great, not bad, but again, should be an easier one to pick up. But honestly, I've just got to say, I don't really know what they're smoking with this fusion. Like the dude in himself needs a buff. Yeah, they've not really made his kit sensible at all, and that's disappointing. But you know, we've been on the back of two really good champions. But this guy here, LONATHARIL, I did a playtest of him. I was really underwhelmed. Yeah, his A1 overwrites his A2, and his A2 is meant to be irremovable. He doesn't really hit that hard. He doesn't have a great AI. The best thing about him is a really strong ally attack, but then the buffs are not as strong as epics we've got in the game. You know, it just feels like his passive makes zero sense at all. And I have fed this back. I was like, look, there's some simple buffs you could do, and then all of a sudden he'd be a desirable champion. But as he is right now, I feel like, you know, one of the worst fusions in the last 12 months for me. Other people might think differently, by the way. Don't just look at my view, but that is my view. Anyway, guys, there you go. I've been Hell Hades. As I say, we will keep that guide up to date on the website every day for those that are going for him. And if you're not, I would just suggest don't burn tons of resources that perhaps will let you get the next one over the next 2 weeks. Use it as a time to get your masteries done. Use it as a time to level up champions that you need. Use it as a time to still claim rewards in these events and stuff. So, you know, plan your time so that you're still doing events that make some sense, because you can still pick up stuff which will help you in the future. There you go, guys. I've been Hell Hades. Free to play. I'll see you later.